Good day, my schoolers. Welcome to my school channel. My name is Alexandra. In this video, you'll be joining me to solve the JAMB CBT past question for the subject English Language Year 2007. Please stay with us, do not go anywhere, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to my school channel. So in this video, we'll be solving questions 68 to 92. So right now, let's jump into question 68. Select the option that best explains the information conveyed in the sentence. The next village is at least 30 kilometers away. So the next village is at least 30 kilometers. So when we talk about least or at least, we're talking about the slightest or the minimum. So we are looking at 30 kilometers and above. So 30 kilometers is the slightest or the minimum. So the answer to this question is clearly option D. The next village is 30 kilometers away or possibly more. So option D is the final answer to this question. Question 69. There is a door at either end of the building. Now what this means is when we see the word either, we think of alternatives. So we have alternative doors, okay? Probably one at the front and the other at the back. Okay, so the answer to this question is option A. The building has two ends and two doors. So there is a door at either end of the building. So you can choose to go with the front or the back. Okay, so option A is the correct answer to this question. Question 70. Still under sentence interpretation. We have to iron out our differences at once. Now, what does this mean? This means that we have to settle all of our disagreements and completely do that and not have any reason to go back to it. So the answer to this question is option C. We have to settle our disagreements once and for all. So option C is the best answer to this question. Question 71. There should be a playing field for women entering politics. Now, this means that there should be an equal participation in politics between men and women. So it should be on an equal basis. So option D is the correct answer to this question. Men and women should be able to compete in the political arena on an equal basis. Question 72. Select the option that best explains the information conveyed in the sentence. Thanks to that phone call, I obtained the visa. Thanks to that phone call, I obtained the visa. Now, this means that if there wasn't a phone call, there wouldn't be a visa. So this tells us that the visa pulled through because there was a phone call. Okay, so the answer to this question is option B. It was because of that phone call that I obtained the visa. So option B is the final answer to this question. Question 73. Ado and Abu are always together these days. They must be up to something. Now, up to something means they must be planning something, okay? So the answer to this question is option B. They are probably planning something bad. Option B is the best answer amongst other options. So we'll stick with option B as the final answer to this question. Question 74 to 77 comes with a passage, so I advise you click on the link in the description below. It takes you to the My School website. There you will find the passage. Please read carefully and understand the passage, or you can pause this video as it is being displayed on the screen. Do not forget that the aim is to read carefully and understand the message the writer is trying to pass across so that you can attempt the question accurately. Now, moving on to question 74, the writer seems to suggest that now, if you've read the passage, you realize that the writer takes us to the past and tells us how being a secretary is regarded as a disrespectful profession, a scornful profession, a profession that is not regarded. Okay, so and the writer gives us why this profession is disrespected. Okay, but towards the end of the passage, the concluding part of the passage, the writer tells us how important the profession has become in recent times. The profession has become very respectful, highly regarded. Even the male secretaries. In the past, the male secretaries are not respected. Okay, it was awful to be a secretary, talk less of being a male secretary. So in the concluding part, it tells us that the male secretaries are respected and they are regarded. So the answer to this question is clearly option B. There was nothing wrong in having males as secretary. So option A, C, and D happened in the past, but then its concluding part is that now it is very, very important to have secretaries in organizations and they are regarded professions. So option B is the correct answer to this question. Question 75. Modern secretaries are different from the old ones because they dash. Okay, so in the last paragraph, the writer gives a clear distinction between being a typist and a secretary. And it tells us that in modern times, okay, secretaries are professionally trained in universities, polytechnics, colleges, so they are more educated and they are trained. So the answer to this question is option C, are more educated and better exposed to professional training. Option C is the final answer to this question. Question 76. The expression utter disdain as used in the passage means dash. Okay, so the answer to this question is complete contempt. Now, it means a complete disregard, a complete disrespect for the profession. Okay, and it's talking about being a secretary. So the answer to this question is option D. Question 77. Which of the following statements can be deduced from the passage concerning the old perspective of secretaries? Okay, so the answer to this question is option A. So one thing is clear according to the passage, that the old secretaries should not be called secretaries. Instead, they should be called typists. Okay, because they are not as educated, they are not as trained as the modern secretaries, because the modern secretaries involve so much more than the typists could do. Okay, so they should be called typists, while what we have now should remain as secretary or secretaries. So the answer to this question is option A. They did not deserve to be addressed as secretaries. Question 78 to 82 comes with another passage, so I would advise you repeat the process, which is to click on the link in the description below, which takes you to the Myschool website. There you can find the passage, read carefully, or you pause this video as it is being displayed on the screen and ensure that you read very well, read carefully and understand the passage. Okay, so now moving on to question 78. From the third paragraph, the steps taken to check the spread of bird flu in Nigeria were. Now, if you've read the passage, you see it talks about the fast-spreading pandemic, which is the bird flu, and it came into Nigeria, and the steps taken to stop the spread of the virus include quarantine the affected farms and to destroy affected birds or dispose affected birds, and lastly is to restrict movement. Okay, now let's find this in the options. Okay, we have option A, monitoring all poultry farms, quarantine affected farms, and killing and disposing affected birds. So we do not have monitoring all poultry farms. Okay, so option B, restricting movement, yes, part of it. Paying compensations and caging free-range birds. Okay, so we do not have this in the passage. What we have is this alone. So option C, we have isolating ravaged farms. Okay, so isolating means to keep away or to stay far away, or to isolate means to quarantine. Okay, so isolating ravaged farms, destroying and disposing of affected birds, and restricting movement. So option C is our answer, and this is the final answer to this question. Do not forget to take practice questions with our simulated JAMB CBT past questions. What you need to do is you click on the link in the description below. It takes you to the Myschool website. There you have to download Myschool mobile app for your Android phones and Myschool software for your computers and laptops. Please go ahead and download and start practicing these questions. Now moving on to question 79. Which of the following statement is true according to the passage? Option A, Nigeria's handling of the bird flu pandemic justified African countries' inability to cope with the disaster. This is wrong. This is not true according to the passage. Option B, if it had not been quickly controlled, bird flu might have proved more deadly than HIV/AIDS. Now, this is not true because we'll be restricting ourselves to the information provided in the passage, and it says that pandemic is as deadly, the bird flu pandemic is as deadly as HIV/AIDS, not more, not less. Okay, so option C, the death of many poultry birds led to the discovery of bird flu in Nigeria. Now, this is true according to the passage, because the passage says that the announcement of bird flu in Nigeria was consequential to the death of the large numbers of birds in farms precisely in Kaduna State. Okay, so we'll stick with option C as the answer to this question. Let's take a look at option D. Poultry farms in Nigeria have been quarantined. Now, I didn't tell us poultry farms. Poultry farms is quite general, it's generalized. So it tells us that many affected farms, poultry farms, have been quarantined. So option D is not the answer. So we'll stick with option C as the correct answer to this question. I believe you're enjoying this content. If yes, do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly, tap on the bell notification to get informed as soon as we release the next videos. Question 18. From the passage, it can be inferred that dash. Okay, from the passage, all of the options are not true according to the passage except for option A. Option A, we can actually find option A in paragraph 3, where it was stated that Nigerians actually exclude the poultry meats from their menu. So from their regular menu, they excluded the poultry meat. And we can see Nigerians no longer consume poultry as a result of the bird flu. So option A is the final answer to this question. Question 81. The expression to return to the status quo ante refers to dash. Now, to return to the status quo ante means to return to the previous existing state of affairs. Okay, and we can find this in option C, condition of things prior to the incidence of the bird flu. That is the condition of things before the incidence of the bird flu. So option C is the final answer to this question. Question 82. A suitable title for this passage is dash. Now, the answer to this question is option A. Option A is all-encompassing and it captures the entirety of the passage or the storyline. So do not forget that the writer introduces us to how the human race was once again threatened by the problem of the pandemic, which is bird flu. And we see that livestock entails domestic animals. Okay, so the birds are affected and humans also are affected. So we see that livestock and human casualties of the bird flu pandemic in Nigeria captures the entirety of everything the writer is trying to tell us in the passage. So we'll stick with option A as the final answer to this question. Question 83 to 92 comes with another passage, which is the register. So I advise you repeat the process. All you need to do is you click on the link in the description below, which takes you to the Myschool website. There you get the passage. Please read carefully and understand, or you could pause this video as it is being displayed on the screen. Do not forget the aim is to get an overall view of what the writer is trying to say. Okay, so moving on to question 83. Question 83 is meant to be filled with a verb. Okay, so the verb form that will fit into that context appropriately should be the verb form in its past participle. Okay, so we can have lay eyes and the past tense will be laid eyes. Okay, so laid eyes can also function as the past participle. Now, when you take a look at the passage itself, you see it is in its present tense. Okay, and we can also have the present perfect tense in the construction of the passage. Okay, so in that particular part label system, we see whom have. So have here tells us that it is the perfective aspect. It should be followed by the past participle. Okay, so whom have, probably not laid eyes. So option D is the final answer to this question. Question 84. In question number 17 above, choose the best option from letter A to D that best completes the gap. So in the part label 17, we see that it talks about large crowds. Okay, so it is pluralized, so we have crowds and it's plural. So we need a verb that is also plural. So as you can see, where gathered is plural, but then it is ungrammatical to use where gathered in that context. Okay, so take a look at it properly and you will find out that it is really not grammatical to use where gathered in the context. So we will stick with gather. Gather is the plural form. Gathers is the singular form. Okay, to be gathering is the present continuous form. So we'll stick with option B, gather, which is the plural form of the verb. Okay, so option B is the final answer to this question. Question 85. In question number 18 above, choose the best option from letter A to D that best completes the gap. Now in the part labeled 18, we see that it talks about suddenly a cannon dash repeatedly. So we'll stick with option A as the final answer, booms. When you say something booms, it makes a loud, deep, resonant sound. Okay, we see the picture of something repeating itself. But bangs is something sounding. Okay, it's a sudden loud noise. But when we talk about booms, we're talking about a sound that resonates. Okay, so option A is the final answer to this question. Question 86. In question number 19 above, choose the best option from letter A to D that best completes the gap. Now the part labeled 19, we see that rich dash. Okay, rich dash fills the air from the royal musicians. Okay, so it has to do with something musical, and so we'll stick with percussion because percussion has to do with a musical instrument and it is musically inclined. So we'll think about the word percussion. So percussion fits the gap appropriately, and so we'll stick with percussion as the final answer to this question. Question 87. In question number 20 above, choose the best option from letter A to D that best completes the gap. Now the part labeled 20 is a part that describes the Igwe emerges like the rising sun dash in white robes and so on. So this part is best for the word dazzled. Okay, dazzled will fit in appropriately because when we talk about dazzled, we talk about something bright and colorful, and because of the context, the Igwe emerges like the rising sun dazzled in white robes. Okay, so dazzled is most appropriate because of the context, and that's what register does. It selects certain words to fit in certain context or certain situation. Not because resplendent does not fit in, because resplendent means to be attractive, but because dazzled is just appropriate for that particular context. And so option C is the correct answer to this question. Do you have questions you would like to ask? Please feel free to ask your questions by using the link provided in the description below. Please click on this link. It takes you to the Myschool website. There you can ask as many questions as possible, and solutions will be provided to you within a short period of time. Now moving on to question 88. In question number 21 above, choose the best option from letter A to D that best completes the gap. Now in the part labeled 21 talks about the Igwe begins dash dance with his wife. So confusion or the answer should be between traditional and cultural. Now let's talk about the difference between traditional and cultural. When we talk about cultural is seen within a particular social group. So it is identified within a particular social group. Okay, but when we talk about tradition is more encompassing. Tradition is the custom and belief of a people that is transmitted from one generation to the other. So it is all encompassing, and so we can think of culture as a subset of tradition. Okay, so tradition is a larger view of thinking about the custom and belief of people, while culture is identified with a particular group of people. Okay, so the answer to this question is traditional. The Igwe then begins the traditional dance with his wife. So option A is the final answer to this question. Do you have better steps, explanation, or solutions to any of this question? Please feel free to ask. You can indicate in the section below, indicate the question and the solutions you would like to share. Question 89. So we want to fill in the gap label 22 according to the passage. Now the answer to this question is to the chairs. So we see that in the passage it talks about the king, the Igwe, dances around the arena dash the praises of the crowd or the people. Okay, he dances to the cheers of the people or the crowd. So people are praising him and cheering him up, and so he dances to that calling, to that cheer and praise. So the answer to this question is option D, to the cheers. Question 90. So we want to fill in the gap labeled 23. So in that context, the answer to the question is pay their respect. So finally the Igwe gets to sit and the people pay their respect to the king. Okay, so they either go there and take their bow and greet him, so they pay their respect. So option A is the final answer to this question. Question 91. Now we want to fill in the gap labeled 24. So in that part, the people pay their respect. What do they say? Igwe, you will live long, dash the throne. Now the problem here is what correct preposition should be used in that context. Now you can see that the only thing they are altering in this option is the preposition. So we have at, on, by, and in. But the answer to this question is option B, on the throne. So Igwe, you will live long on the throne. Option B is the correct answer to this question. Question 92. So in this part labeled 25, we are meant to fill in the gap with the best or the most appropriate word, and the word is acknowledges. Okay, acknowledges is to accept the existence of something. So according to the passage, after the people pay their due respect, the king acknowledges it. So he acknowledges it, he accepts it. So the answer to this question is option C. We've come to the end of this segment. I believe you enjoyed it. Please do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly, tap on the bell notification to get informed as soon as we release the next videos.